growing pains or the grown-ups are being pains on this episode of Green and Gold till I'm dead and cold. All right, everybody, let's just get right into it. You have a 12-point fourth quarter lead with basically the youngest team in football. And somehow the grown-ups managed to screw it up. You know, I would have said if this was last year, it was all on Joe Barry. But now Matt LaFleur bears the responsibility. Why? Well, because Joe Barry is still out there. He's out there calling nickel and prevent defenses against a team that can only really run the football. Now, I'm not saying Desmond Ridder is terrible, but Desmond Ridder is not the threat you needed to be worried about. You knew this entire game that all they wanted to do was run the football, and you still let Bijan Robinson rush for 124 yards at 6.5 yards per clip. A.J. Dillon, on the other hand, did not rush for that. Now, there's many reasons for that, and it's not all A.J. Dillon's fault. But let's just say when you're slipping around in the backfield before anybody even touches you, and your footing is not good to begin with, and you don't have a lot of moves other than I'm going to run into the guy in front of me, that causes some problems. He averaged 3.7 yards per rush, 55 yards. Now, total plays, 78 total plays by the Atlanta Falcons to 47 by Green Bay. So much of this is lopsided, folks, because if you look at just the fourth quarter, of the 446 total yards they put up, almost 200 of them, that's right, almost half, came in the fourth quarter. Of the 78 total plays they ran, 30 of them were in the fourth quarter. Why did this happen? Well, it's simple. If Matt LaFleur and Joe Barry had called the fourth quarter the same way as they had called quarters 1 through 3, Green Bay probably would have won that won that game by not just 12, but 19 or even 26. But we get into the fourth quarter and they decide to try to just milk the clock. And Joe Barry does what he did so often last year and threw Green Bay into a nickel where instead of having 3 linebackers or sometimes even 2 on the field, you would only have 1 and several defensive backs while they are coming out in double and sometimes even triple tight end sets. Why are you running a nickel against that? Why are you running a prevent when you know they're going to gash you? Maybe they thought that there wasn't enough time for them to come back. I don't know what they thought. But by the time, well, no, there wasn't even by the time. They never got to a point where they started playing right. And Matt LaFleur, you're just as much to blame. 3 and out, 4 and out. 8 yards in the fourth quarter. The rest of the game, see, Green Bay had 224 yards of total offense. That means 216 of them were in quarters 1 through 3. I know there's people out there that want to put it on Jordan Love because he's not Aaron Rodgers, but right now, he's got 118 passer rating, which is, I know it's tops for our division, and I think it's probably within the top 2 or 3 in the entire NFL. He's got 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Now, I'm not going to let Jordan Love completely off the hook because that final drive, he missed a wide open Romeo Doubs that would have given Doubs the ball on the sideline where he could have gained some more yardage and then ran out of bounds. Does Aaron make that throw? Yeah, Aaron makes that throw. Will Jordan Love eventually make that throw? I think he will. But this is about the coaching staff. And a coach that I actually like a lot as well. Rich Bisaccia, what's going on with being ready for special teams plays? How many times are we going to get screwed because we don't have the right personnel on the field, and then it moves it back 5 yards, and now it's a 56-yard field goal, which we probably should have kicked anyway because Carlson's got the leg for it. I don't know why we made that decision, but when the people don't know when to be on the field, that's a coaching issue. When you call such a conservative offensive game plan in the fourth quarter that the GOP wants you to run for president, that's a coaching issue. When you play prevent and nickel against a team that has to run the football to win, because Desmond Ritter's not going to beat you. He just isn't. He's solid, but that team needs a strong running game and a good defense, and their defense did show up. But when Green Bay was playing the way they were supposed to, they were winning 24-12. And then the fourth quarter happened. So, if anybody's got Jim Leonard's phone number over there at the University of Illinois, send it to me. I'll call him myself. Matt LaFleur needs to tighten up the reins, both with his play calling and his defensive coordinator's play calling. This can't go on like this the rest of the season. I have a really difficult time putting this game on the kids. And everybody, same old crappy Packers run defense. Well, when they're playing in 12 and 13 sets and you largely only have 4 guys on the line of scrimmage, it's going to happen. And then whatever cute stuff he was trying to do when he was bringing Walker and Campbell up to the line and putting them on the edge, I don't even know what that was. I'm still blown away by that. Now, it also doesn't help when your first-round draft pick, rookie sensation, Lucas Van Ness, leaves the game with an elbow injury. Early in the game, Elgin Jenkins has his leg fallen on by our running back, A.J. Dillon, and leaves the game. He now has a sprained MCL and is going to be out at least 3 games. David Bakhtiari. This is obviously the one everybody's talking about. Was it because it was the turf? Was it because he had swelling on his knee? I mean, he might have swelling on his knee every week. Hell, we don't know. But I know he played the week before against the Bears on grass, and he didn't play this week on turf. Well, we got 4 more games this year on turf. Giants, Panthers, Lions, and Vikings all play on turf. Is he going to play those games? Or are we just going to have him for 12 out of the 17? I'm not sure. All I know is that we're not getting straight answers out of Green Bay. And when asked about it, Matt LaFleur got irritable. Well, your fan base wants to know. And by the way, your fan base owns the team. So when Matt says, I don't want to talk about it. It was a knee injury. Okay, we know it's a knee injury. What the hell's going on? And then he got irritable about A.J. Dillon. Somebody asked if A.J. Dillon had put on some weight or something and he wasn't moving as fast. Oh, he's the same weight he always is. Now, one area where I will give him credit in the press conference is I think he threw some shade at Joe Barry when they asked him what happened, and he basically just said, I'm paraphrasing here because I don't remember it verbatim, but yeah, we got gashed all game long consistently. Wow, okay, well that's a shot across the bow. Hey, defensive coordinator, we're not putting up with this for an entire season again. You better get this figured out. So hopefully that's what that meant. Hopefully they'll stick by that. Now, I do think that they have a relatively good matchup coming up against the Saints because the Saints can't run the ball either right now. They're down Alvin Kamara, and I don't know if Jamal Williams is going to be back, but he got hurt this past game that the Saints just won against the Carolina Panthers on Monday Night Football last night. So they're going to want to pass the ball a lot with Chris Olave and Michael Thomas and guys like that. So that plays more into Green Bay's hands. Green Bay has excellent cover guys. They've got a lot of good pass rushers, and Derek Carr on the road when he gets when that pocket starts to collapse, Derek Carr, and you can go back to his days as a Raider, plays a lot worse when that kind of stuff happens. But getting back to the Packers and Falcons game, just the tale of two different, I can't even say two different halves. It's the tale of the first three quarters and the last one. You know, not having our two most explosive weapons, Aaron Jones in the backfield and Christian Watson on the flank, hurt again too. I mean, you can make an argument that outside of the quarterback position, which everyone will say, and rightfully so, is the most important position on the field, our four best offensive players missed the game. Elgin Jenkins, David Bakhtiari, Aaron Jones, and Christian Watson. You can make an argument. They're the four best players on the starting 11. Defensively, your first-round draft pick, Lucas Van Ness. Now we have a deep pass rushing room, so I'm not going to say that devastated our game plan. Right now, Lucas Van Ness is more of a rotational piece than he is somebody that we're depending on to go 35 snaps a game. But it still didn't help. And we called the game all wrong. Offense, defense, and special teams. So, moving forward, and we're going to talk more about the Saints game in the next episode of Green and Gold, Till I'm Dead and Cold. But right now, the grown-ups need to figure out what they want to do. They've got a lot of talent on this team. I think that they need to unleash Jordan Love more. I think that Matt LaFleur got way too conservative in the fourth quarter. He should have continued to pass it down the field. You know, that first drive, when you get it to 2nd and 5 and you're trying to run out the clock, why wouldn't another play action pass right there be perfect? They're expecting you to run. You've got a couple of nice tight ends in there. Just call the damn play. Call the play. They're expecting A.J. Dillon again. And then whatever happened on 3rd and 1, that was a nightmare. I understand that Jordan made the wrong call at the line. Okay, fine. He's inexperienced. He hasn't been in a ton of game situations. But why are we even thinking about that anyway? Why is that even a thing? We should have done a nice play action to the flat or something like that on 2nd and 5, gotten the first down, burned up some more clock. I mean, this was a game that Green Bay lost. It was not a game that Atlanta won. I did not leave this game, and even though I'm a Packers fan, I did not leave this game going the better team won, because it didn't. The better team didn't win. The worst team outcoached the more talented team. That definitely happened. Especially when you knew they had to run the football to be successful. Because if you put 8 in the box against Atlanta and tell Desmond Ridder to beat you against Jair Alexander and Rasul Douglas, it's not happening. It's just not happening. Yeah, you might get a couple of box out plays from Drake London or something like, but they're Kyle Pitts. But consistently, no. Desmond Ridder is not accurate enough of a passer. I mean, he had some bad throws that game. I haven't even talked about the fact that, you know, we had at least one pick six that we dropped. And then that was Jair Alexander. And then Quay Walker drops basically the same interception he had against the Bears. He dropped in the middle of the field. I mean, there were so many scenarios where it's like just that play or just that play. Packers win. Green Bay only lost by 1. And they still had a chance with a minute left. Jordan Love didn't come through. And yeah, I'm not putting that on anybody else. I mean, they were passing the ball, but Jordan Love's got to make that happen. If he wants to be a premier NFL quarterback, he's going to have to start learning how to move the team down the field in sometimes under a minute. And I get it, not having Aaron Jones and Christian Watson out there and your two best offensive linemen. Did that hurt him? You damn well better believe it did. But here's where Jordan Love is in a situation that doesn't do him any favors. The Green Bay Packers are used to having quarterbacks that can put the entire dumpster fire on their shoulders and go win the game. And that's where, at least for the time being, you're going to have some unfair comparisons when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and his predecessor, Brett Favre, and Jordan Love, because Jordan's just not there yet. When Jordan has a healthy offensive line, a healthy receiving core, his running back room's in good shape, the defense is playing on point and giving him good field position, Jordan Love can look like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Jordan Love is going to have to get a little bit better at performing in dumpster fire, because perfect situations are not what you deal with the majority of the time in the NFL. You deal with injuries. You deal with missing your left tackle or your best wide receiver or a defense that's not playing well. And you still have to figure out how to win, because the quarterback traditionally is the highest paid guy on the team. Got to do it. You got to do it. So, like I said, we will be back later on this week for our next installment of Green and Gold Till I'm Dead and Cold, where we will preview the New Orleans Saints game and why I think Green Bay has a real legitimate shot in that game. They are favored. I believe it's 2 right now that they're favored by, but I think Green Bay could very well, especially if they get some of these pieces back that were missing last game, that Green Bay could walk into their home opener and make a statement against Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints. So, folks, thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment, share, and we will see you next time.